Folks, listen up, because if you're still dropping $2,800 a month on rent in New York or LA, you're getting robbed in broad daylight. The media won't tell you this, but I will. Right now, across America, there are places where $700 a month doesn't just cover your rent. It covers your mortgage on a 2,000 square foot home with a yard, garage, and maybe even a fireplace thrown in. No joke. According to Zillow's 2024 data, the national median home price is hovering around $420,800. But in the right states, that number plummets to under $190,000, and with today's mortgage rates, $700 puts you in full-blown homeowner territory. We're talking property taxes under 0.7%, zero grocery tax in multiple states, and electricity bills that barely crack $120 a month, even with the AC running 24/7. Meanwhile, in San Francisco, $700 might buy you a week of parking. In Miami, it's barely half of your internet and car insurance combined. But shift your zip code just a few states over, and that same $700 buys you freedom, privacy, and square footage the coastal elites pay millions for. So here it is. No fluff, no fantasy. Just 8 U.S. cities where $700 gets you a home so comfortable, so spacious, and so financially sane, you'll wonder why you didn't move sooner. Let's go. Number 8, Mississippi, where $700 buys you a southern estate with change left over. Let me hit you with something the media won't. Mississippi, yes, that Mississippi, isn't just cotton fields and blues legends anymore. It's quietly become America's best-kept housing secret. Zillow's 2024 median home price in Mississippi is sitting at a laugh-out-loud $164,000. That's 61% below the national median. You read that right. In places like Tupelo, Laurel, or Brookhaven, $700 a month isn't rent. It's mortgage, taxes, and a little gas money left over. A 2,300 square foot red brick colonial with hardwood floors and a wraparound porch. $149,900. You could close this Friday, move in next week, and be grilling catfish by Saturday. And let's talk taxes. Mississippi property taxes are microscopic, 0.63%, which means that a $150,000 house costs under $1,000 a year to keep legally yours. Meanwhile, in New Jersey, they'd charge you $9,000 to breathe near your own front door. Utilities? Dirt cheap. Electricity averages 11.8 cents per kilowatt hour, almost 30% less than what folks pay in California. Water bills? Less than $30 a month. And here's what no one's telling you. Mississippi is rolling out rural broadband expansion like wildfire. Fast internet in the country. Translation: you can zoom into your job from a 12-acre ranch while watching deer stroll past your kitchen window. Healthcare: Jackson's UMMC is a regional giant, and clinics dot even the small towns. Don't let the stereotypes fool you. This state is rebuilding, quietly and methodically. Hollywood stars rent plantations here for film sets. You buy them. Mississippi isn't poverty. It's financial power, Southern style. And for $700, you're not scraping by. You're dominating the zip code like a secret millionaire with a sweet tea budget and empire ambitions. Number 7, Alabama, where $700 doesn't just get you a house. It gets you a legacy. All right, buckle up, because Alabama is no longer just sweet tea and college football. It's the front line of America's real estate revolution. According to Zillow's 2024 market report, the median home price in Alabama is $205,000, but venture just outside the main metros, and you'll find jaw-dropping deals. In Dothan-Gadsden or Florence, homes under $175,000 are standard. We're talking 2,100 square feet, new roof, double carport, maybe even a pool in the backyard, all covered under a $700 monthly mortgage. And that includes your homeowner's insurance and property taxes, which, by the way, are 0.42%. That's the second lowest in the country. You'll pay more in monthly ATM fees in LA than you will in annual taxes in Birmingham. Grocery taxes? Yes, Alabama's been lagging. But 2025 legislation has officially started phasing them out, cutting the state tax from 4% to 2%, with full elimination expected by 2027. Electricity? Around 13.7 cents per kilowatt hour. Not the cheapest, but still leagues below California or New York's budget-gutting rates. But here's the kicker no one mentions. Alabama has one of the lowest natural disaster insurance rates in the South. Why? The northern half of the state, places like Huntsville and Decatur, sit in a sweet spot outside of hurricane paths, tornado alleys, and major earthquake zones. You're not just buying a house, you're buying peace of mind. Celebrities spend millions on quiet living ranches in Montana. In Alabama, $700 puts you in a brick ranch with a sunroom, a garden, and a workshop out back. Retire in California and you downsize. Retire in Alabama and you upgrade. This isn't just a deal. It's a declaration of independence. Number 6, Indiana, the financial black hole, where $700 gets lost in your mortgage and you still come out winning. Let's be real. When's the last time anyone talked about Indiana? Never. And that's exactly why it's quietly becoming the secret weapon for anyone trying to break free from $3,000 city rents. Zillow's 2024 data shows the median home price in Indiana at $223,000. But in towns like Kokomo, Muncie, or Richmond, homes still sell in the $160,000 to $190,000 range. A 3-bed, 2-bath with a finished basement, detached garage, and a deck overlooking a half-acre backyard? That's $172,000, and a $700 monthly mortgage handles it like a champ. And here's the math that'll blow your mind. Indiana property taxes average just 0.81%. That means a $200,000 home sets you back a mere $1,600 annually, peanuts compared to the 10,000 plus tax bills in some Northeast zip codes. Groceries, no sales tax on food. Utilities, just 12.1 cents per kilowatt hour. You could run your air conditioning, fridge, washer, dryer, and still pay less than your buddy in Brooklyn does just to run his dishwasher. Now let's talk crime. Outside of Indianapolis, Indiana's small towns rank among the safest in the Midwest. Think violent crime rates under 200 per 100K. And here's something Hollywood doesn't want you to hear. Ever heard of French Lick? That's where celebrities like Larry Bird still live. Why? Because it's peaceful, affordable, and luxurious in ways that don't make tabloid headlines. You want health care? Indiana University Health Anchors clinics, statewide, and even rural areas are within 15-30 minutes of medical centers. This isn't the Midwest you learned about in history class. This is stealth prosperity. Indiana doesn't just stretch your $700, it wraps it in cashmere and adds a fire pit. Number 5, Kentucky, where $700 buys a home, a porch, and a lifestyle. Your therapist can't sell you now. Let's talk Kentucky, the land where bourbon flows, bluegrass grows, and your mortgage payment looks like a typo. Here's what Zillow's 2024 breakdown says. The median home price in Kentucky is $197,000. But step outside Louisville or Lexington, and you're looking at homes in the $150,000 to $180,000 range all day long. We're talking charming 2-story Victorians in Bowling Green, brick ranches in Paducah, even log homes in Pikeville. With $700 a month, you're not getting by. You're living in style, front porch swing, wood-burning fireplace, and land for days. Property taxes? Try 0.82%, placing Kentucky well below the national average. And groceries? Currently taxed at 6%. But bipartisan momentum is growing in the legislature to strip that back, with rural voters demanding relief. Electricity? Around 11.9 cents per kilowatt hour, among the lowest in the country. Here's the bombshell. Kentucky has some of the cheapest water rates in the nation, averaging $18.05 per month. That's not a typo. That's just reality. Healthcare, UK healthcare and Baptist Health dominate the landscape, while dozens of small-town clinics provide basic care without the big city price tag. But the true luxury in Kentucky is space and silence. While influencers in LA scream into ring lights from 400 square foot apartments, you'll be sipping bourbon on your back deck watching fireflies. People say you get what you pay for. In Kentucky, that's a lie. You pay $700 and you get more space, more peace, more dignity. In LA, $700 buys a parking ticket and a headache. In Kentucky, it buys a mortgage, a garden, and mental health that doesn't come from a prescription bottle. Number 4, South Dakota, where $700 buys you a fortress on the prairie and the government pays you to stay. Here's where the story gets surreal, folks. South Dakota, the state everyone forgets exists until Mount Rushmore pops up in a trivia question, is hiding one of the most aggressive cost of living cheat codes in the country. Let's get into the math. Zillow's 2024 median home price in South Dakota is about $242,000, slightly above some others on this list. But hang on, you're not buying in Sioux Falls or Rapid City. You're looking at towns like Mitchell, Yankton, or Spearfish, where $180,000 gets you a full-blown ranch-style home with 3 beds, 2 baths, a massive attached garage, and views of actual wilderness instead of your neighbor's air conditioner. At today's interest rates, $700 a month doesn't just handle your mortgage. It leaves room for property taxes, which, by the way, sit at 1.22%, still far below national averages. Now here's the bombshell they really don't want you to know. South Dakota has 0 state income tax. That means if you're retired and living off a pension, Social Security, or even dividends, the state doesn't touch a dime of it. That alone is like handing yourself a $5,000 raise. And when it comes to groceries, you'll pay a 4.5% state sales tax. But compared to California's combined 8.5% plus and local taxes, you're still ahead. Utilities? Roughly 12.4 cents per kilowatt hour. And crime? Outside of Sioux Falls, it's nearly non-existent. Small towns here report violent crime rates under 150 per 100K, safer than most gated communities in the suburbs of LA. Now here's the part they don't advertise on real estate websites. South Dakota is one of just a handful of states where you can legally claim residency with no state income tax and minimal documentation, which is why RV millionaires register their address here, even if they're sipping margaritas in Arizona. You can live here for real. Your $700 doesn't just buy you a house. It buys you tax immunity, prairie sunsets, and a lifestyle so quiet it feels fictional. Forget beachfront. This is Freedom Front. Number 3, Missouri. Already covered above, repeated for continuity. Missouri is 2 states in one. And if you choose right, your $600 turns into mansion math. Let's start with hard numbers. Zillow lists Missouri's 2024 median home price at $229,000, already $200,000 under California's baseline. Now here's the trick. Skip St. Louis or Kansas City, where rents punch near $1,000 for studios, and pivot into Springfield, Pulaski, or rural Ozark counties. Suddenly, $600 is in a cramped apartment. It's a 2,400 square foot home with 3 bedrooms, hardwood floors, and a backyard big enough for a chicken coop, and a smoker the size of a Buick. Property taxes? Missouri clocks in at 0.8%, making it one of the lowest tax states in the Midwest. Groceries, taxed at a laughable 1.225%, practically nothing compared to Florida's 6% or California's nearly 8%. Utilities, 12.97 cents per kilowatt hour, so cheap you could run your AC all summer and still come in under $130. And here's where it gets insane. Starting in 2026, renters in Missouri get a $155 refundable credit. Translation: the state literally hands you a bonus rent payment once a year. Crime? Sure, St. Louis headlines scream chaos, but in small towns, the violent crime rate slides down to 300 per 100K, safer than Nevada or New Mexico. Healthcare? Springfield's Cox Health System and St. Luke's in Kansas City are ranked top-notch regionally. Now compare this to Hollywood. Celebrities burn $60,000 a month for a mansion in Beverly Hills that eats their soul in property taxes. Missouri? $600 gives you barbecue smoke curling through your backyard, Cardinals baseball on the radio, and enough leftover cash to fill that smoker with ribs every weekend. Missouri isn't glamorous. It's aggressive affordability with a side of sauce. Number 2, Nebraska, already covered above, repeated for continuity. Nebraska doesn't just hand you affordability, it gift wraps it with practicality. Zillow's 2024 data shows the state's median home price at $233,000. And in Buffalo Hall or Dodge counties, homes regularly hit the $180,000 range. Run the mortgage math and $600 covers your payment on a 2,100 square foot split level with an attached garage, finished basement, and a backyard so wide you could host county fairs. And don't underestimate property taxes. They run around 1.61%, higher than Arkansas or West Virginia. But Nebraska cancels the sting by phasing out all state taxes on Social Security income in 2025. Translation: your check arrives whole, untouched by Lincoln's ledger. Groceries? Untaxed when bought for home consumption, meaning your pantry isn't skimmed every week. Utilities hover around 13.1 cents per kilowatt hour, again under the national average. Healthcare? Nebraska's got you covered. Omaha and Lincoln House nationally ranked hospital systems, while even smaller towns like Grand Island and Kearney maintain solid clinics. Crime? Statewide violent crime sits at 380 per 100K, manageable with most trouble clustered in Omaha's urban zip codes. Now, here's the kicker. Hollywood celebrities fly private jets to retreat in Nebraska's sandhills, paying thousands a night for rustic isolation. You get that same rustic isolation for $600 a month. Deer grazing in your yard, sunsets that look like oil paintings, and neighbors who wave instead of calling TMZ. Nebraska isn't glamour. It's stealth solvency disguised in corn husks. Retirees in California spend $1,800 a month just on rent. In Nebraska, that same money buys 3 homes, a barn, and half a herd of cattle. Financial gravity bends here, and $600 doesn't just stretch. It multiplies. Number 1, Oklahoma. The final boss of financial sanity, where $700 buys you a life Hollywood can't afford. And here it is, the final boss. The undefeated champion, the heavyweight slugger of affordability, Oklahoma. Zillow's 2024 median home price for Oklahoma sits at a staggering low $183,000. That's 56% below the U.S. average. But dig into towns like Enid, Ada, or Muskogee, you'll find real listings, not theoretical, for $149,000 to $170,000. Brick homes, 3 beds, 2 baths, attached garages, and backyards that stretch into infinity. For $700 a month, you're paying your mortgage, your taxes, and still have enough left to fill a propane tank or two. Renters? You're not left out either. In rural Oklahoma counties, rent averages between $620 and $700, a number that in San Francisco wouldn't even cover a parking space. Property taxes try 0.90%. That's so low, it almost feels illegal. And utilities? 12.9 cents per kilowatt hour. You could run the oven, the dryer, the AC, the Xbox, and still come in under $130 monthly. And now, the crown jewel. As of 2024, Oklahoma has completely eliminated grocery sales tax. That's not a rebate. That's not a phased rollout. That's zero taxes on food, permanently. That's like getting a 5 to 7% raise every time you go to Walmart. Healthcare? Tulsa and Oklahoma City house major medical centers like OU Health in St. Francis. Even rural counties have clinics within 30 miles. And crime? Avoid OKC's rougher zip codes, and you're looking at crime rates under 300 per 100K in places like Stillwater and Bartlesville. But let me make it real. In Malibu, $700 buys you a one-night stay at a 3-star hotel with a view of someone else's Tesla. In Oklahoma, $700 a month buys you a ranch. A full-blown, sit on your porch, raise some chickens, grow a garden, and watch the sunset kind of ranch. You get a life, not a lease. A lifestyle, not a liability. Tornadoes? Yeah, they exist. But you know what's more destructive than wind? Paying $3,200 a month to rent a shoe box in Manhattan. Oklahoma is the financial revenge fantasy that came true. And all you needed to do was move.